Hello, ladies and gents. My name is Jack Dragonfly, and through the years, I've been to some of the most dangerous places on Earth, from treacherous jungles and scorching deserts to the dark depths of the ocean. But nothing could have prepared me for this challenge. Okay, you've already seen the title of the video, so I went to Atlanta, okay? If you recall, last year I took a trip to the windy city of Chicago. Well, this time I was heading deep into the heart of the state of Georgia, ready to experience some adventure and some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality. Now this right here would be my base of operations, the Springhill Suites by Marriott. Not as fancy as the Chicago Hilton, but quite comfortable for the price, with a big bed, fancy bathroom, free breakfast, and not to mention all of the Studio Ghibli films at my fingertips. Hooray! The only downside was that it had no pool, which unfortunately was a problem, as I ended up going to Atlanta in the middle of a heat wave. Now, I'm serious, stepping outside was like walking into an actual deep fryer. But I was going to have to beat the heat. Luckily, the first stop on my journey was the World of Coca-Cola Museum. That's right, an entire museum dedicated to my favorite soda pulp. Now, we all know that soda is just liquid diabetes, but few understand the history and science that goes behind its creation. Did you know Coca-Cola was originally invented by pharmacist John Pemberton in 1886 as a health tonic, no less? Not to mention the name Coca-Cola comes from the fact that it was made using the juice of the cola nut and the leaves of the coca plant, which also happens to be the very same thing used to make cocaine. No wonder I'm addicted to Coke. The museum was smaller than I thought, and I only spent about an hour and a half in it. The actual highlight was this room where they give you this cup and let you try all the different sodas, as much as you want. I experienced a mellow yellow from Trinidad and a Diet Coke from Russia. I even got to try a flavor that wasn't on the market yet. I don't remember its name, but I wouldn't recommend it. Tasted like carbonated cough syrup. Ugh. And after that, I got to go on the Skyview Atlanta. A beautiful Ferris wheel granted me a beautiful view of the city from 200 feet off the ground. Day 2 of my adventures brought me to Zoo Atlanta, a beautiful park filled with all kinds of exotic beasts, like African elephants, the mysterious clouded leopard, and the majestic bald eagle. A few other exhibits worth mentioning included the Ford African Forest, which not only housed lemurs, monkeys, and birds, but also an incredible 2-acre exhibit housing one of the largest populations of gorillas in the United States. King Kong would be proud. My personal favourite was the Scaly and Slimy Spectacular, a 14,000 square foot, $18 million complex housing over 70 species of reptiles and amphibians, poison dart frogs, hellbender salamanders, slender snout crocodiles, alligator snapping turtles, and the heaviest modern snake, the green anaconda, which can grow up to 30 feet long and weigh over 500 pounds. Not to mention it was one of the few spots in the zoo to actually have air conditioning. Though I will say, the glass around the crocodile habitat was so reflective that it felt like I was looking into a mirror and made it really difficult to see the animal. But the real star was yet to come. For at the time of my trip, Zoo Atlanta was the only zoo in the United States to house the giant panda, the most famous of all endangered species, though it is actually no longer endangered and is classified as vulnerable. Now, all giant pandas are property of the Chinese government, and American zoos have to lease these Oreo bears for a fat million a year, and it takes another $500,000 to feed them. So as a result, most facilities can't afford them. Though, as of this video's release, I've been hearing rumors that giant pandas might be returning to San Diego in California, as well as the National Zoo in DC. And as luck would have it, giant pandas wouldn't be the only exclusive Atlanta had to offer me, because on day 3, the grand finale of my journey brought me to the gorgeous Georgia Aquarium, the largest aquarium in all of the United States, housing almost 500 species of animals and over 11 million gallons of water. Some of you might be familiar with the Georgia Aquarium, thanks to the Animal Planet TV show, The Aquarium, which documented all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. And behind the scenes was exactly where I was going, as I was invited to partake in the aquarium's beluga encounter. And you'll recall from my Chicago video, I have a soft spot for these Moby Dick minis. And it truly was a treat to see this beautiful animal up close and personal, and I was even able to give it some good old pets. I'll admit, the skin felt kind of strange, kind of like a cold boiled egg if that makes any sense. But there was a lot more to be seen, like bottlenose dolphins and California sea lions. I wouldn't be attending any animal shows this time, so my view of these two was restricted to single windows in their exhibits. Now this right here is their brand new shark exhibit, home to some of the mightiest predators of the deep, showing how, in reality, sharks might be the most misunderstood animal on Earth. It has some of the more famous varieties of shark, like the hammerhead, and my personal favorite, the tiger shark. Tropical Diver was the most generic of the galleries, housing all kinds of coral and fish, like mantis shrimp and these lionfish. Though a special mention does go out to this lovely display of a barrier reef and these adorable garden eels. Next up was River Scout, and I admittedly am a fan of freshwater aquariums, and this one did not disappoint. Piranhas, African tigerfish, and the American alligator were some of the fearsome beasts on display, alongside some other animals that showed off the prettier side of the muddy waters, like the school of discus or these African cichlids. Cold Water Quest was where the belugas were kept, alongside a plethora of other species like sea otters, seahorses, starfish, octopus, spider crabs, and everyone's favourite, penguins. Though I will mention, these penguins are African penguins, also known as Cape penguins or jackass penguins. These are actually a tropical species that doesn't do well in colder waters. But now it's time for the true grand finale, the big showstopper, the centerpiece of the entire aquarium, Ocean Voyager, sponsored by the Home Depot. This 6.3 million gallon tank is nearly the size of a football field and reaches over 30 feet deep. It houses thousands of fish, including groupers, manta rays, and a beautiful sea turtle named Tank, who was happy to say hello. But the real kings of this tank were these guys, whale sharks, the largest species of modern fish, with the biggest individual inside the tank reaching over 27.5 feet. Though, as big as they are, there are numerous prehistoric fish, like the 50-foot megalodon and lead that dwarf them. Though that didn't take away from the beauty of the sight of them. Now, despite being sharks, these beasts are filter feeders and eat nothing but plankton and small fish. And the tank had plenty of spots to get a good view, like this incredible underwater tunnel and this enormous window stretching over 60 feet wide and 2 feet thick. And now it's time for some eats. I got the chance to try at a number of different restaurants during my stay, including my first trip to a Hooters, where I enjoyed some good chicken and an even better view. Two other good spots were Max's Coal Oven Pizzeria, and I enjoy pizza, and I will say a classic brick oven might just be the cream of the crop. And also Johnny Rockets, a delightful diner that looked like something straight out of Route 66. I'll highly recommend both their burgers and their shakes. And speaking of shakes, the best stop had to be the Yard, a milkshake bar where I had absolutely the biggest milkshake I have ever had. Just look at this thing. And all the others on the menu while you're at it. The ice cream headache and the $14 was well worth it. And that's sadly where my adventure came to an end, and soon I was on a flight bound for home. Well, the Dinosaur Man survived Atlanta, and I don't know where my travels might take me next, but I'll keep on sharing the experiences with all of you guys. And don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff for more content from the VentureWorld channel. But as for now, I'm Jack Dragonfly, and I will see you all again next time.